the end of the day that is. But if you don't show it, I told you it will be considered as unpointed, which is 0. If someone wills to give you a mark, they'll give 1 14. So whenever you see a question that has 2 parts, make sure you bring that aspect of love and then peace. How do we see that peace? And in the text it's clear. We are shown how these people sit together, talk. They even share the passion and all that. It has to come out. Because you are writing a paragraph, you are arguing, you are conducting a critical thought. So let's now proceed from the truly married woman. We stopped at some point after we read up to the point whereby the punishment has been done. And then I think there were visitors who have come. And Ajay has been. He thinks that maybe he has done something wrong. So we can proceed from Mr. Ajay, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's read from there.
Mr. Ajay.
Together, please.
Mr. Ajay. These gentlemen have asked for you. The chief clerk said, pleased to meet you, Mr. Ajay. The tallest said, with a smile, we belong to the World Gospel Crusading Alliance from Minnesota in the USA. My name is Jonathan Olsen. Ajay shook hands and the other 2 men were introduced. You expressed an interest in our work a year ago and we have not forgotten. We are on our way to India and we thought we would come and see you personally. The boat on which the men were traveling had stopped for a few hours near Ajay's camp. The chief clerk looked at Ajay with new respect. Ajay tried desperately to remember any contact with WGA. As Olsen now called it, while he made polite conversation with them, then suddenly he remembered. Some time ago, a friend who worked at the United States Information Service had given him a magazine which contained an invitation to join the WGCA. He had written to the WGCA asking for information, but really hoping that they would send free Bibles which he could give away or sell. He hoped at least for large religious pictures which he could put out on his bedroom wall. But nothing had happened and he had forgotten about it. Now here was WGCA in person. 3 persons. At once he invited all 3 and the chief clerk to come to Visa to a golden ring. They all agreed. Olsen suggested a taxi, but Ajay quickly told him that the roads were too bad. He had already whispered to another clerk to hurry home on a bicycle and told her, tell her I'm coming in half an hour with white men and she should clean up and get the good drinks. Ayo was confused by this message, as she believed all white men drank only whiskey and ice beer. But the messenger said the visitors were friendly, religious-looking men and he suspected that perhaps they were missionaries. Also, they were walking instead of being in a car. That explained everything to Ayo and she started work at once. Oju was sent with a basket on his head to buy fruit drinks. Quickly, she took down the calendars with pictures of lightly clothed women and put up the family photographs instead. She removed the magazine and put out religious books and hid the wine glasses under the sofa. She just had time to change to her Sunday dress and borrow a wedding ring from her neighbor when Ajay and the visitors arrived. The chief clerk was rather surprised at the change in the room, which he had visited before, and in Ayo's dress and ring, but he knew his feelings. Ayo was introduced and made a little conversation in English. This pleased Ajay greatly. The children too had been changed into Sunday suits. face wash and hair brush. Olsen was delighted and took photographs for the WGCA magazine. Ayo served drinks and then left the room, leaving the men to discuss serious matters. Olsen began to talk enthusiastically about Ajay's future as a missionary. The visit went well and soon the missionaries left to catch their boat. Ajay had been saved from a life as a missionary by the chief clerk, who explained that it was against the rules of the government workers. Ajay could even be sent to prison. He said the missionaries were saddened but not surprised by this news. The next day, Ajay took to the chief clerk a carefully wrapped bottle of beer as a present for himself and the visitors. They discussed happily the friendliness and interest the white men had shown. This visit that Ajay was surprised about the meeting made Ajay very thoughtful for a week. He decided to marry Ayo. Another reason was the photo that Olsen had taken for his magazine. In some strange way, Ajay felt he and Ayo should marry, as millions of Americans would see their picture as one God-loving and happily African family. He told Ayo about his marriage intentions one evening after a particularly good meal. Ayo at once became worried about him. Was he ill? She asked. Was there anything wrong at the office? No, he answered. There was nothing wrong with going to get married. Was there? Or was she thinking of marrying somebody else? Ayo laughed. As you like, she said. Let us get married, but do not say I made you do it.
Okay, so we discussed the previous part because it covers something else, especially that visitation of the people from WGCA. Now, students are supposed to remember, because when you are writing your essays, most of you give the wrong group. You must know where that group had come from, that they were missionaries. And they didn't just come like that. Already Ajay had written what? A letter. What had he said? Yeah? He had asked for information about that group, and also he had requested that they send him what? Bibles. What was the intention of the Bibles when he was asking for them?
He wanted to give out or sell.
Yeah, give out or sell some of them. So was he a serious religious person? No. He was not. He was just doing it for fun. Like you read a newspaper, you see something, you just get interested and do it for the fact of it. Now, I want you to look at the deceptive aspect that happened within that part, because deception is a key in this story. What part do we see that Ajay is lying, but in reality, that is not his intention, especially the visitor's part? Yeah, because deception is key in this, or hypocrisy is very key in this story. Yes. Huh?
When Olsen suggests for a taxi, Ajay tells him that the roads are bad.
Yeah. Do you think the roads were bad? No. Why was he telling them the roads were bad? And they can't use a taxi, they just have to walk on foot. Yeah. Yeah. What was in that house that was supposed to be eliminated? Yes.
Photos of lightly dressed women and glasses of whiskey and wine.
Yeah, glasses of whiskey and wine, as well as the photos of lightly dressed women. So, you know, there is a thought about religious aspects. When we see visitors are coming, there are things you look around and say they shouldn't be there, and you want to remove them. So he knew very well if the visitors were to go straight to his house, then they would think he's not religious as they believe, because these people are religious. Maybe the pictures we should be seeing are pictures of Jesus and pictures of something to do with the church, not lightly dressed people. And also the glasses, wine glasses, should not be also seen according to maybe his thought and the religion. So that becomes deception because he lies. He lies to the people so that he can give Ayo time to prepare the house. Anything else that is in relation to deception? Yes.
When Ayo borrows a ring from their leader,
Mm-hmm.
show that she was married and then she wasn't.
Yeah. So generally, as I told you, religious wedding is you are supposed to have a ring to prove that you are married in church. Failure to have it, even for those who are married, they remove it to show that they are not. So when, since Ajay and Ayo have not been formally married in church, when they see that these religious people are coming, they borrow a ring. Would you do the same? What is the sense, seriously? Because even if they are not, they would automatically do it. So what was the sense of going to borrow a marriage ring to prove to the missionaries that they are married? So they go borrow the ring from who?
Their neighbor.
Who is the neighbor? Remember, there was a neighbor that really was a close friend to Ayo. Omo. So you can imagine borrowing somebody's ring so that you prove you're married. I wonder, where did Ajay get his own? Because if the wife is the only one having the ring and the husband doesn't have, does it prove they're married? That part the writer leaves us in suspense because it's only Omo who is going to borrow, and not Omo, but Ayo. And on the other hand, we have not. So we are seeing deception on the side of Ayo. She knows very well she's not married already. She's still a mistress. She's comfortable with that. She has already 3 kids, 1 on the way. And yet, she decides to borrow so that she can prove they are married with Ajay. And yet in church, whenever they talk about them, sometimes they disappear and come after some time. Now there is something else. When the visitors have come, what else do they do as a deception? What did they do that now triggered them to plan for the next wedding? Yes. That is not a deception. Yes. Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Yes. They posed and took photos, and they were dressed in what? Yeah, Sunday-best suits, so as to show that they are perfect family before the visitors, as a way maybe to lure them to trust them as people who could be the ambassadors of that kind of missionary group within their specific area. So, of course, we understand that normal days they were not dressed like that, but the fact that they pretend and do that is pretentious, it is deceit, it is hypocritical, so that they appear as a perfect family suitable for the church. Because sometimes church wants to press for perfection, and people are pressed to do things in pretense to seem to do that. You will even realize we are not only told, but maybe if they were playing classical music, they might have changed that to gospel music just to suit the visitors. We are told something else there. Oh, the next one is the next day, right? Or there is something, yes.
Ajay bought a beer and brought it to the chief clerk to thank him for organizing.
Remember, it was that who was sent to give a message, right? So they receive a gift of beer. Already by buying such kind of gift, it tells us that Ajay was not serious about religion. Because if he was serious, he could have given something else to the clerk. But he bought a bottle of beer and gave it to just assert the fact that the glasses we saw in the house were not just there for ornamental purposes. They were used for beer taking or something like that. So that is something to prove the other point we had discussed. So there is Ayo's deception and there is Ajay's deception. So let's proceed now. We had reached somewhere. Yeah. So we have seen they have decided to be to get married. And who is suggesting the marriage? Why do you think he wanted them to be married now? Yes. So that it suits the purpose. They have already posted to the world that they are married. So in case the missionaries post those pictures, then it should come out indeed that they are married. So he decides to do so. And Ayo is really surprised because they had been comfortable as mistress. And all the while, Ajay had never suggested anything to do with marriage. So she's very much surprised. And she warns him, remember, never say I forced you to eat. So that Ajay understands that she was not even ready for that. But if he's ready, then all is well. So let's proceed.
They discussed the wedding that night. Ajay wanted Ayo to have a traditional white wedding dress with a veil and flowers. But Ayo decided, sadly, that it was not right for a mother of three to wear a
What's happening? Your focus is coming to the one person coming. Okay, let's proceed.
They discussed the wedding that night. Ajay wanted Ayo to have a traditional white wedding dress with a veil and flowers. But Ayo decided, sadly, that it was not right for a mother of three to wear white at her wedding. They agreed on grey. Ayo particularly wanted a corset because she did not want to look too huge. Ajay gave in on this, but there would be no holiday after the wedding. He said they could not afford it and one bed was out of the other.
What are you saying? Yes?
Ayo gave in on that, but they agreed on a church wedding. That evening, Ajay, excited by the idea and the talk about the wedding, pulled Ayo to him as they lay in bed. No, said Ayo shyly, pushing him back gently. You mustn't. Wait until after the marriage. Why? Said Ayo, rather surprised, but obedient. Because it will not be right, Ayo replied seriously. When Ayo's father heard of the coming marriage, he made Ayo herself and everything she owned back to his house. The children went to Ayo's married sister. Most of Ajay's family welcomed the idea, except his sister, who was worried that Ayo would become more important in the family than she was. She advised Ajay to ask her soothsayer to look in the future. As Ayo heard about this from friends in the market, she saw the soothsayer first and fixed things. When Ajay had his sister called at night to see him, the soothsayer looked into Ajay's future and saw a happy marriage, but avoided the sister's eye. She smiled bitterly and accepted defeat. The only other problem was Ayo's neighbor Omo, who had always lent Ayo her wedding ring when Ayo needed one in a hurry. She had suddenly turned cold, particularly when Ayo showed her the wedding presents Ajay was going to give her. Omo's face was both jealous and angry as she touched the silky, see-through material. Do you mean you are going to wear this? She asked. Yes, Ayo replied simply. But my sister, she protested. Suppose you had an accident and all those doctors needed your clothes in hospital. They will see everything through this. I never had accidents. Ayo answered and added, Ajay says all the Hollywood cinema women wear this. These are awful. They hide nothing. You should be ashamed to wear them. The jealous girl said, pushing them angrily back over the wall to Ayo. Why should I want to hide anything from my husband when we are married? Ayo said, winning the argument and moving happily back to her own kitchen.
Okay, we finished the discussion of that part, then we'll proceed in the next lesson. So what do we see there? Yes. Mm-hmm.
She was jealous and angry.
Yeah, so we have these friends who are normally happy that we are always at the back. They should always be number one in whatever they are doing, and then you follow. But the day you come out with good news, they are very sad about it. So when, for example, maybe every time when you have your papers back and they look, they have 70, you have 60. But the day you will come out with 62, then you will no longer have happiness between you. So those are pretenders who are around us but are now happy, even neighbors and what have you out there. So we realize Omo is that kind of person. She was never happy for Ayo. Then that is deception also, right? Because if you are a genuine friend, you should be happy when you are another person makes it. But if you realize that someone is only happy when you are below, and when you are up, they are annoyed, then those are deceitful or hypocritical friends. Then the sister-in-law just was comfortable that they are mistresses, that the brother just stays with this woman as a mistress. You know, formal documents normally give formality to a woman. A woman can have a right to demand for wealth if the husband maybe disappears or dies or something like that. And then formal marriages also give a voice to the wife in the home. But most sisters-in-law sometimes are not happy, and of course we see that in the story. The sister to Ajay was not happy. Do you think Ayo was very much correct for Ajay? Was she a very suitable wife for Ajay? Why did she have to go see the soothsayer? If there is nothing about it, why did she hear what the sister was planning to do? Then she decided to go and fix things. What was this she was fixing? We are told she goes to see the soothsayer first before the husband does, and they fix things. So when the sister-in-law and husband go later, the soothsayer tells them that there is a happy marriage anyway, and avoids looking at the eye of the sister. What was this that he was going to fix? That soothsayer would not say the truth. I suspect that she knew very well that once she has a former marriage, she will be a very different woman. So she knew that if the soothsayer says it as it is, she would actually have said that the marriage is going to be different as a mistress way, because a mistress would not have the right in the home. But when she has a right, of course we'll see at the end of the story what she does, and it will tell us that she was not possibly going to give happiness to Ajay. Yeah, so let's meet next to finish, hoping that we'll finish the story.